I've done more programming this week than any other week of my life. And why, I hear you ask? Because I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we had General Conference last weekend. Also, I have a mom who loves
statistics and numbers.
So usually she spends several hours after a conference copying and pasting all of the text from all the talks into a word counter, which she then prints out and shares with her churchy friends. But this method has a problem. Obviously, it's too slow. But contrary to what you may think, my first idea did not include programming.
Faster, come on! Scroll faster! Why can't you just scroll faster? What the heck? Go faster!
Yeah, it didn't work. So after overcoming my depression of failing as a coach, I decided I should probably get programming. Alright, let's break this up into pieces. First of all, we need a way to get all of the text from all of the conference speakers. Second, we need to put it through a word counter so that we know how many times each word was said. Then third, we need to save it onto my website so that my mom can share the link with other people and they can actually see the report for themselves. Alright, what are we waiting for? Step 1, get the text. This is the website on churchofjesuschrist.org that shows all of the conference. So by manipulating these numbers at the end of the URL, we can get any conference we want. Sweet. The conferences are broken up into 5 2-hour sessions, and each talk for each session is below. By clicking on each talk link, it shows us a video of them talking and all of the text. So using what I know so far, I made a script in PHP on my website that will go to the URL we give it and find the link to each individual talk underneath each session. Back on each talk page, by opening Inspect Element and clicking on each paragraph, we see that they each have a unique ID that simply starts at P1 and goes all the way to the end of the talk. Using this, I made another script in PHP that will find out how many paragraphs there are in the talk, grab all of them, combine them into one, and then return that to the website. Brilliant, but I should probably start making a GUI so I can actually test this. I've gone with a fairly simple page here, which of course only admins on my website can access, which just has an input for the conference URL and a button to submit the request. Behind the scenes, though, it's a little more interesting. I added a script that will submit a GET request to the first PHP script which I referenced, which returns all of the URLs of each talk. Then, for each URL that the system gets, it gets the contents of each talk. When I run it on the page, it shows us all the talks that we need to collect and slowly starts removing them as it collects them. Once it's done, it just tells us the name of the conference and dumps all the text on the page, making the web page very long. So now that we actually have all the text, we don't need to touch churchofjesuschrist.org anymore. All we have to do is move some stuff around, parse some stuff, and then save it to the website. See, if I were to refresh the page right now, all of the text from that conference would be lost. And my mom wants to be able to share this with people. And she could print it out like she used to, but that's a lot of paper. You saw how long it made the web page. So we're going to have to dynamically create web pages on our website using code. See, that's actually not as complicated as it seems, but we'll get to that in a minute. First, we need to count all the words in this thing. Luckily, I was able to find a website that will count your words and output them in the form of an HTML table. And after modifying the code a bit, I saved it to my server and gave it a shot. Oh yeah, and because there's so much text in here, it does take 20 or so seconds to process, which means Chrome might tell you that your page is broken, when it's not. That's why I have this warning. Wait a second, it actually worked! Come on, son. Along with pasting the table below, it also puts all the HTML code in this text box. Awesome! And finally, last thing we need to do is save it to the website so we don't lose everything we just did when we refresh the page. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this part probably took me the longest, and it probably was the hardest, and my code probably isn't as good as it could or should be. But hey, let's go for it. If we're gonna save a bunch of these to the website in years to come, that means we're going to need a page that will list all of the ones we've made. So on this page, I made a tile that will give us a link to that conference, have a thumbnail image, and tell us the name of that conference. I already did all the CSS, so now we just need to populate the screen with the conferences we've created. This bit of PHP script will read all the directories in this page's directory, make sure it has an index page, a thumbnail image, and a file named name.txt that holds the title of the concurrence. Concurrence is not a word. Now all we have to do is link this site to this site. And I'm not going to show the rest of my scripts just for security reasons on my website, but basically, after the report is made, it asks you for a link to an image that you can use as a thumbnail. After you put in a link, it displays the image to ensure the link is valid, then you can view a demo of the site. It tells you to make sure that the page is all good before you continue, and that the continue button is at the very bottom. But yeah, this looks good, so when I scroll down to the bottom, there's a button to publish the page. This will just copy all of our temporary data into real files on the server. Oh, by the way guys, this page is actually live at lds.leohome.ml. So at the time of this uploading to YouTube, it's going to be live and you can see all the conferences that I've generated so far. That was a lot of coding for 1 week. If you made it this long, thank you so much. But don't worry, things are going to be going back to normal next week. I have a really good plan with what I'm going to do next with Leo. So far, all of our sensors are mimicking things that our body actually has. Like his potentiometers are measuring the joint angle, just like how, we know our joint angles. But we don't have any sensing in our feet other than touching the floor or not. But Leo's going to have something better. And if you're interested in that, be sure you subscribe because it's coming out in 2 weeks, assuming everything goes to plan. And I cannot wait to see you guys then. Anyway, I'm Michael, and never be afraid to share your talents. I'll see you next time.